Ethan Carlisle was a man the world envied, founder of a multi-billion-dollar tech empire, owner of penthouses on both coasts, a father, a widower, and a man whose greatest wealth meant nothing when it came to the one thing he couldn't fix. His son. 10-year-old Aidan Carlisle had been born hearing, but after the accident that took his mother's life, he fell into a silence that doctors still argued over. Some said it was trauma, some said neurological shock, some said selective mutism, but to Ethan, none of the labels mattered. His son's world had gone quiet, and no amount of money could buy sound back. Ethan tried everything: specialists from Switzerland, neuro-linguistic therapists, sign language experts flown from Japan. All of them came with confidence and left, shaking their heads. He's not responding to stimuli. One said, he refuses connection. Another added, he's choosing silence. The last whispered. Ethan broke that night on the marble floor of his mansion, surrounded by abandoned flashcards and therapy reports. Then came someone no one expected. Her name was Maya Bennett, a soft-spoken black woman in her late 40s, hired as a maid through an agency after the previous staff burned out. She walked with a slight limp. She never raised her voice. She carried an air of quiet that was so natural, it blended into the background, but she noticed everything, especially the boy who never looked up. On her first day, she passed Aidan in the hallway. He was sitting alone, tracing circles on the hardwood floor with his finger. His eyes were distant, like he was staring at memories no one else could see. Maya didn't speak. She simply lowered herself to the floor slowly. Gently traced a circle beside him. Aidan paused. For a brief second, his eyes flicked toward her, but she didn't force anything. She stood back up, limping carefully, and continued dusting. Later that night, during a tense family meeting, Ethan asked her bluntly, "Do not engage with my son, please. I don't want him uncomfortable." Maya looked at him with eyes that held stories she never told. Children aren't uncomfortable with presence. "Sir," she said softly, "only pressure." Ethan didn't know what that meant, but he was too drained to argue. Days passed. Weeks. Therapists kept rotating in and out, leaving behind expensive bills and disappointed faces. But Maya, she didn't try to fix anything. She just existed beside Aidan. She swept the hallway while he sat drawing. She hummed softly while polishing the banister. She watered plants while he traced shapes in the dust. No words, no expectations, just presence. One afternoon, as she prepared laundry, she heard something, a small, shaky hum, barely a whisper. She froze. It was coming from Aidan. He was sitting on the laundry room floor, tapping rhythmically on a detergent box and humming unevenly like he was trying to remember a melody. Maya's heart clenched. She recognized it. Lullaby. Soft, fragile, one she used to sing to her own son. She lowered herself beside him. Without speaking, she tapped along with him, matching the rhythm. Letting him lead, Aidan's tapping stopped. He looked at her, startled, then curious. Slowly, Maya tapped again. Aidan's eyes widened. For the first time in years, he engaged. They continued tap, tap, up, tap, a simple pattern that meant nothing to the world, but to him, it meant someone finally understood his silence. When Ethan came home that evening, he saw something that made him drop his briefcase. His son was holding Maya's hand, and smiling. "How did you do that?" Ethan whispered. Maya didn't boast. She didn't explain. "I listened," she said. "Not with my ears, with my patience." Ethan didn't know what to say. No professional had come close to this, but the real breakthrough came days later. Ethan had to host a large investor event at his home. Dozens of executives swarmed the mansion, loud, polished, intrusive. Ethan was nervous. Aidan didn't handle crowds. While the guests mingled, Aidan stood at the top of the stairs, clutching the railing, overwhelmed by the noise below. Then someone accidentally dropped a tray. Aidan flinched violently, covering his ears. Every therapist had told Ethan to give him space during panic episodes, but Maya walked toward him, never touching him, then tapped gently on the floor with her cane. Tap, tapped, tap. Aidan froze. His breathing eased. He peeked at her through trembling fingers. She repeated the rhythm. He lowered his hands. Then, miraculously, he tapped back. Guests stopped talking. The entire room fell silent. A billionaire CEO, surrounded by power brokers and investors, forgot every deal he'd ever made. He walked toward them, his throat tightening. "Maya, what is that? What does it mean?" She looked up at him with a soft, heartbreaking smile. "It's a grounding signal. A way to say, I see you. I'm here, my son." He used it when words were too hard. Ethan blinked. "You had a son?" Maya nodded. "I did. He was special. The world didn't understand him, but I did." Aidan stepped closer to her, leaning gently against her arm. She didn't react as if he were fragile, simply accepted him. Ethan swallowed hard. "Where is he now?" She took a slow breath. "He passed away 6 years ago." The room tightened around Ethan's heart. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. Maya looked at Aidan with a gaze full of love only mothers knew. "I can't get my boy back," she said softly, "but I can help yours." That night, Aidan did something no one expected. He tugged on Ethan's sleeve. Then he placed his small hand on Ethan's palm, and tapped. Tapped. Ethan broke. Tears streamed down his face as he knelt and hugged his son. shaking with relief. "I'm here," he choked out. "I'm right here, buddy." Aiden didn't speak, but he didn't need to. He tapped again, and Ethan understood everything. Months passed. Aiden slowly began responding to sound therapy, then to sign language, then to spoken words, quiet at first, like someone rediscovering the world. Ethan never forgot who sparked the miracle when he offered Maya a massive salary increase. She smiled and shook her head. "I don't work for money, sir. I work for meaning." So Ethan did something else. At a small ceremony on the front lawn, he handed her a folder. "What is this?" she asked. "A foundation," Ethan said, voice trembling. "In your son's name, for children like him, and like Aiden." Maya covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. Aiden stepped forward, holding a small drawing, a stick figure boy, and a woman holding hands. For the first time, his voice, still fragile, still uncertain, broke through. "Thank you, Maya." She collapsed to her knees as Ethan steadied her, overwhelmed by the moment. A maid, a billionaire, a boy who had lived in silence, all healed each other in ways no one saw coming. Because sometimes the person who changes your life isn't the one with degrees or titles, but the one who simply listens and stays. The moral of the story? The greatest miracles aren't created by wealth, power, or expertise. They're created by compassion, patience, and the courage to see someone's pain when everyone else overlooks it.